Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully that plays out. I mean, I'm trying to wait one more candle to jump back in here. Let me share my screen, really quick. Yesterday, I shared a couple of trades on hackers, and well, something that I want to remember or remind you guys, it is that usually I wait for that flip of the ribbon. So my entry point wasn't here, but I have not yet opened up a trade. I'm getting very close to that flip of the ribbon, so I'm thinking of opening it right now. But still, I don't know if I should front run it. Sometimes when I front run this, I get a very bad taste or a very bad news. But nonetheless, since we are on or piercing through support, almost at that flip of the ribbon, what I'm gonna be doing is just keeping my stop as is, and I'm gonna be opening up now the long. No, sorry, not the short. My stop loss is gonna be as is right now, so I'm trying to give myself a little bit of a wiggle room. In fact, I'm gonna go just slightly below like this, and well, that will be it. I'm expecting those bounces. In fact, also I'm looking at Litecoin. Litecoin, I was expecting a quick drawdown. We had a quick week, but not as big as I was expecting. Again, I'm not. This one I'm not gonna front run it. I'm gonna be waiting for that flip of the ribbon to play it out, and then because we are in a high order block, negative high order block, and then most likely I'm just gonna wait for that pullback. If we don't, for any reason, well then I mean, which I don't think so, because look at that, 4 hours, 94% bearish order block. Man, the longs have been down here and then been pushing, and longs right now are running out. Now shorts might be able to take on full game, so that's why I'm gonna be keeping this possibly for a drop and then a continuation. So just wanted to show you those two assets because I think, and I haven't looked at, well, I have looked at Bitcoin, but not into a trading perspective so far on lower time frames. But I wanted to show you is that in the 4 hours, we have a mixed bag between assets that are holding and assets that are slightly retracing. So I was aiming for those assets that have already retraced for a possible reentry, and those assets that has not retraced for maybe the chance that they hold their position and they pump. But that would take like 8 hours from now. And you mentioned that you're looking for maybe a long and a short time frames, which indicate the same candle for me, pulling back up, right?
Hmm.
So what are your thoughts?
Well, it's slow, man. It's hard for
Yes, it
me
is.
to. It's so slow. It's
Oh, by
slow.
the
So
way,
it's what?
we have Lucky 11. Shout out for him. He was in a hub channel, I believe, yesterday or the day before. He had couple of, or he's looking for a simple way to look at trading. He already have some experience, and I promised him that when he joins, we're going to go over 101 finding entries and exits. But first, let me know how was your morning. You're saying that it is slow, and maybe we can tackle a couple of strategies.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been very slow. So this morning I was able to take a couple of longs, but really just it's been painful. It's been painful. So just really trying to be patient, which is hard in this environment. Okay. But when looking at this, like the orb played really well this morning. So I can trade a failed orb breakouts typically bullish. Okay, so it failed this morning and we broke out. So if you don't know the orb, we I've shown many times on how to put it on here. So we can do it with the I do it with just trend lines, but you can do it with whatever you want in here. You got your New York orb here this morning, and just looking for that looking for it to hold, right? So when trading the orb, we'll let it load here. A failed orb break breakdown is typically bullish. So this morning we had the failure, okay, and I was able to get long in here as soon as we started to close. stop loss below the low and take this thing up. I closed a little bit early because of how slow price action is, but nonetheless, still a pretty good trade for me coming in for what we had this morning. Okay, like that's the thing. It's like what's available and what's tradable, and we clearly can see that it's very slow and painful right now. So we got to take what the market gives us, kind of deal, right? Currently, right now, we are rejecting off of VWAP and the golden pocket. So we'll see if it does want to continue to push or if it wants to fully retrace. Okay, we're kind of in a middle zone. I would look for a continuation, possibly up for the liquidity in the highs here. But right now it's your guess is as good as mine, as they say, right? You got to be prepared as possible, but also understand that the market right now is very, very slow. Why do I say it's very slow? Well, you can see how long it's taking for price to move, right? Price is not moving there's no volatility, right? So that creates a lot of waiting, okay? A lot of waiting. So I was also able to take the SFP. You can see that we had multiple drives of bullish divergence in here this morning, suggesting a bounce, okay? When we get overexhausted on our oscillator in here, you can see that we're just waiting, right? You're waiting for that bounce. So this also helps, especially on the short-term timeframes when we're looking for price to bounce, okay? You can see exhaustion down here, multiple green dots, multiple bull divs, okay? I typically like to look for a couple of things. I like to look for this thing to go bright, and I like to look for clipping on the Mag 7, which you can see right here. Okay, and that typically sets us up for success. And then we obviously got overextended into the push up. So that's definitely a take profit area, right? So a nice push and continuation in here. And a nice little bit of money this morning, but it's not easy right now. It's not easy. What I also took the SFP here for a quick scalp up, and made like a quick $100 off of this morning as well. So been able to do it, but it's also like, geez, it's for me personally, this is way too slow, right? It's hard to stay in the game, right? Because it's just horizontal. But I like what OC is looking at. I think really, if we're looking at this on a higher term time frame, we are very overextended, right? When we look at this in general, I think we have to understand that, hey, man, it's almost about time we come down for some air, especially after all this up, right? We have tons of liquidity all throughout here, and maybe we do, possibly retrace. Now, one thing that is interesting to me is that we could, we look at Bitcoin here and we're stalling out at the top, but when we look at any of the altcoins, they've retraced quite nicely, right? We look at any of the virtuals, any of, Hype, they've all retraced. Fartcoin, all of them have retraced quite nicely. Bitcoin's kind of just hanging out at the top. So possibly Bitcoin dominance leading the way here, as we can see, and holding price up. And maybe we still have a bunch of shorts to squeeze still. So can we still go up? Absolutely. Can we still go down? Absolutely. So it's really, OC and I have been looking for this area to be swept all week. Are we going to get there? I mean, your guess is as good as mine, right? At this moment in time, it's been up only. I would like to see a retracement, but I'm also, aware that we're very overextended. One thing I have been watching, the NASDAQ making all-time highs, which is really bullish, and the S&P continuing to push to the upside. Okay, so a lot of positive signs if we are to continue upwards. Okay, in the stock market and stuff like that. It's just the volatility index. Look at that, has fallen off a cliff. We are very much very, very not volatile, slow as fuck, as I like to call it. So if you are taking trades in this environment, be prepared to wait. Be prepared to wait. Maybe you want to go over your super strategy there, OC. And then I can get some other things ready here for the Bitcoin price action.
Absolutely. I see.
And maybe alts.
Yeah. That sounds fantastic. PT Blue Collar Trade says, if you have chance, can you review the FVM indicator? Could you maybe give me a little bit more insight on which indicator is that? Is it from ChartPrime? And if it's so, please give me a screenshot or the promotional video, just so I can sit myself or kind of have a little bit overview, because I don't quite remember that we have released an FVM indicator recently. I think the latest that we have revealed was a momentum indicator. Very good one, by the way. Very good one. The lagging is minimum, and it really caught some push through. Fusion volume beta. Which one is it? Can you maybe show me the picture? And I'll just give you a review on it. Let me see. Because I don't think, let's see, a fusion. Is it a free indicator? Sorry. I don't think we have it. See on my invite only. We don't have a standalone fusion beta. Oh, I know which one is it. Yeah, that is a free indicator, right? Sorry for the delay. I'm just trying to pull it up. Fusion volume beta. Is it part of your in the Pro Plus? Let me see. Is it an oscillator? Should be NVP. No.
I don't know which one he's talking about.
I've seen it.
The Pro Plus?
Yeah, I actually have added it, but I don't believe that we released it. In fact, I just removed that one from my wife's trading view 2 days ago. I think that was a beta that wasn't released. That was a very good one. I liked it, but I don't think that I don't remember that we have released it. I believe that it was being pushed for this year release. Send me the link. I see. It seems like you have that. Yeah, I also have the Pro Plus. And it says that fusion volume momentum beta. If that is, that should be, if you are plus, maybe you got into the testing zone. But I cannot pull it up. I do believe that I do have my other testing account. In that one, we had it. Let me see. It is the fusion volume momentum. Oh, yes, here it is. Yes, it is the beta. Oh, yeah, perfect. All right. What time is it? 9:16. Let me get first to what I promised with Lucky Luck. All right. And then, yeah, I see it right now. And then I'll add it and I explain it. It's very, very simple. It's very good, but it has the opposite of a smoothing. And what it tries to get, it is basically the inner structure. So really quick, I think I already have nailed it. Let's go and watch it. I think this is going to be very easy to explain. What you have is overbought, oversold, right? Easy peasy, this area is right here. Another thing that you also have, it's your money flow in here going up and down. Another thing that you have, it is your your kind of like squeeze momentum, which indicates areas of inner structure. All right, and finally you have your momentum calculation, which is kind of like your ribbon, all right, which is this one in here. And what it measures is not only the peak performance that we also measured, but also measures your overbought and or micro overbought and oversold or micro oversold areas, right? So anytime that you have one of those diamonds, it is an oversold or overbought. But if it's not above the area, this is a micro overbought and oversold.
You're not sharing, OC, sorry.
What? Sorry?
You're not sharing.
You're not sharing your screen.
Oh, thank you. There we go. There we go. So only smokes. All right. Let's leave it for tomorrow. The full explanation here. I promise I'll give you a full breakdown. But so far, the most important part that I see on this indicator, it is the tops and the bottoms with those diamonds. All right, with the empty diamonds. Those are inner structures maxing out and inner structures, inner structure maxing out. So basically, when you're seeing this being hit and this one being hit, you could be looking for reversal zones, right? Really important. When you get something like this, this is momentum, that doesn't have a diamond and is not outside, it is because most likely the reaction is not gonna be as strong, right? This also shrinks and expands as the market shrinks and expands. For example, right here, look at the size of this pump and dump, right? As you can see, the movement between this point and this point in the price action is smaller than from this point to this point, right? This one is bigger. The point is that average the momentum to try to give you a max out or of inner structure. So we're always ranging, right? They just a matter of how far you're looking at. But when we are ranging, you go to higher time frames and you catch these movements. And when you go inside those ranges and try to trade the inner range, like for example 4 hours, this is what let me show you. This inner motion is what you try to timing with this indicator. So look at, for example, this top. Oh, almost there with another further movement. Perfect. And then going back down. Perfect. Another one, right? Going back up in here was slightly before. There we go. Going back down in here. There it is. So what are you trying to have? No sound. Do we have sound, guys?
Yeah, you got sound.
Thank you. Sound okay? Trying to reboot or change your output device. Sorry about that. All right, so basically this is an inner structure indicator, or at least that's how I use it. It's very nice when you pair it with your predictive ranges and when you pair it also with another stuff like just traditional support and resistance. Because since it's trying to time the wave pattern, well, when you add your support and resistance to it, and let me see if I can add them. There we go. You can go for, all right, am I close to a resistance? Am I topping up? Yes, shorted. Am I close to a support? Am I bottoming down? Yes, long it. Right, for example, in here, do I have any support? Not really. Right there. Look at that. Am I hitting the resistance? Yes. Am I topping up there? Not quite there yet, not quite there yet. Here we go. You have your confirmation, you shorted. Right, once again, are you on support? Yes. Do we have a signal? Absolutely. So there you go. You take that one. So on and so forth. I'll give you a full description on the difference between the X, the divergences, because we also have divergences on in this indicator, and also I'll give you an explanation on the dashes. But at this point, let me go to the into the trade 101 for Lucky Luck that I promised him, and I'll leave this placed. All right. But yeah, absolutely. By the way, this is still a beta release, so it's not a full release just yet. So you were completely right. It's part of the invite only, and that is a beta, and that's why it's a standalone. So more development needs to be done on this indicator, and that is because it's looking so good, like so good, but still have some refinement. And like the refinement that I'm talking about is these parts, right? Sometimes we have those bunching ups where we have a lot of triggering and we are in the middle of a wave pattern. So this is what we're trying to clean up in this indicator. But other than that, I think this is a fantastic indicator. I'll give you a full overview on that tomorrow. All right, so let me go to whatever Lucky Luck. Can you hear me? He can't. Lucky Luck?
Your sound is good, so I don't know why everyone's saying you're fine.
Thank you. All right, so let me add Lucky Luck and then tell him I'm explaining the class I promise. Maybe watch the recording. Please watch the recording if you have sound issues. All right. Just fixing my grammar here. All right. Let's continue. And this is going to be, I think, a good class for just a review, right? At this point, we're talking about pumping up, dumping, boring markets, everything, right? So what the hell? How are we going to kind of overcome all of this huge batch of information? And that's going to basics, right? I'm going to go give you guys a suggestion. If not, I'm just going to go and pick a random asset. So going down, stop. There we go. Rose. That's the chosen one. Perfect, and this is fantastic. The first thing that we need to look into, it is zooming as much as we can, right? So there we go. I'm zooming as much as I can. Now that I have zoomed as much as I can, now I can just barely adjust anything on my setup here. And what I'm gonna be looking for, it is the trends, not the trades. All right. So it doesn't matter if you're a swing trader, scalper, whatever. Just pick your best time frame and zoom out as much as you can. If you don't believe me, let's try to do those crazy little time frames that Alex is master of. So also he can correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm gonna zoom out as much as I can. Now that I cannot zoom anything else, I'm gonna double click to my right, double click at the bottom, and slightly adjust this, right? Again, not there. Sorry, my bad. Double click, slightly adjusted, and right here, this is where I zoom out. Perfect. Now that I have zoom out, sorry, still fighting with this. Thank you, my friend. Now that I have zoomed out, what I'm trying to grab out of here again is the trend, not the trade. All right, so I can easily see this with my brain. This is a downtrend. Why? Because I have a lower highs and I have lower lows, right? I would consider this, just because of the length, a trend, but it doesn't fit my own perspective of a trend. Why is the difference? For example, in a trend, in a full-fledged trend, the movements that go in the direction of the trend are much bigger than the retracements, right? And this is a characteristic of a trend. That's why the trend is your friend. So let's go and look this the other way. So your range, you break up, you do a flat pause of continuation, maybe a slow down here, and then you break out, right? Maybe a double topping here, and then you break down, and then like that, right? But if you measure your shorts from here to here, from here to here, and from here to here, and then you measure your longs, you realize that not only the longs are sort of like constant, but also they are much more profitable, right? So it's not only a set of lower highs and lower lows, it's also a set that when you trade with the trend, your trade is much more profitable when you're trading with the trend than against the trend. That is a basic characteristic, right? So we can debate that this is a trend, and I can tell you right now that I don't know, but it doesn't fit my own perspective of a trend. All right, still I can do trend lines. All right, that is the next thing. If I can see the trends, or at least I can have a sense of how a trend looks, I'm gonna go ahead and break that rule for myself, and I'm gonna say, yep, it's a trend, right? This is a trend, or even this is a trend. This is a range, this is a trend, and this is, of course, a range, right? So as you can see, this one here is just a flat pause of bearish continuation, much like I would consider this one. Because right here, despite we have lower highs and lower lows, you have equally shorts than longs. Shorts than longs, right? Maybe slightly better shorts, but not really there. So there we go. Now that I can see my my setup in here, how can I measure those trends? Perfect. Where does that trend starts and where does that trend ends? All right, you can give me a book-like description, right? Perfect. But the simplest and most accurate thing that you can do is do trend lines. And let me cite, or let me copy what Alex O usually says, right? He says, nothing beats a good trend line. And I think he was spot on, like spot on, man. You should be making a book about those days. And make sure that you said, like, I swear, brother. And make sure that you put it's not about the breakout, it's about the retest by OC in your book.
By OC,
oh, really?
yeah.
By OC, of course. But nothing beats a good trend line, right? Because the trend line, by default, is just the easiest, simplest tool to measure a trend, right? So when you have a trend, the next evolution of a trend line, it is cloning it, and I'm still practicing the shift drag, no, the control drag, and the next evolution of a trend line is a channel, right? So nothing beats a good trend line. Well, anything at all beats a good channel, right? Perfect. This is when we start having slightly thicker channels, opening wedges, right? Slightly downwards channel, triangles, and downtrending wedges, so on and so forth. But going back to basics, what we trade, it is bottoming patterns for the first warning and break of the trend lines for the actual breakout retest, right? So for example, right here, am I at the bottom? And look at that, I'm not using any indicator at all. Why? Because if I nail this down like 1, 2, 3, like Lucky Luck was expecting, right? Or asking for, when you add your indicators to it, it's just like, dude, you dissipate the fog, right? And then you can see through. But that also brings with something else, which is having the ability to see through. You will try to see farther into the future. And looking farther into the future, that will get you into ignoring the possibility that the market can be first manipulated and the weather can change, right? And I say the weather with quotations because this is not weather. It's just like looking at the weather channel. All right, today in 3 hours it's gonna rain. And the damn weather channel man nails it. It rains at 3 p.m., right? And then he says, well, next week we're gonna have a snowstorm. 3 weeks in, hey buddy, you were wrong. Yeah, because the weather changes fast. Same with the altcoins, right? Or any asset. If, for example, if you're doing, instead of Rose, if you're in NVIDIA, and then they caught Elon Musk, I don't know, not doing cheaper batteries on their car, it doesn't matter that it was bullish, that the thing is going to drop, right? So that is changing the weather. All right, perfect. So what are we looking for? Step number one, or first step, it is bottoming patterns. What bottoming patterns do I like, or are easy for me to understand? First of all, which is advanced, but we just look at it the easy way. It's coming down, little range, V-shaped recovery, high, not higher than the previous range. This gives us 70% chances of ranging. All right. So I look for a range and I prepare for hedging the range in case it breaks up or breaks down. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right. The next bottoming pattern that I came to love because of Alex out Crypto is a swing failure pattern. I used to hate it, just so you know, man. I used to hate it. But
Then I
now,
showed you how to trade it.
exactly, yes. I mean, like when you start working with other traders, you get that feeling that they see, right? And then you get to see it through their eyes. And that's what happened to me. So I improved my trading by learning or getting to know better the swing failure pattern. And now it's one of my favorites setups. So swing failure pattern, right? Or sweep of the lows, and then maybe going for a breakout. This is your, hey, warning, warning, danger, Will Robinson, all right? Because that is where, and I'm just clicking shit in here that is messing things up. And here it is. This is where you should be peeling your eyes, because right now we could be going for the retest, the higher low, and off you go. So your actual entry was one of two, the breakout or the retest. I don't like breakouts because breakouts are unconfirmed fake outs. And what happens when we have a fake out? You go and touch the other part of the range if we break back in, right? So easy peasy lemon squeezy. One last pattern that I like is double bottoms, right? So double bottoms, swing failure patterns, or Wyckoff V-shaped recovery. Those are the things that I'm looking in here to then either break and retest or create a higher low and then break a retest. For example, what do we have in here? Trend line, nothing big, say a great trend line. What is the evolution of that trend line? Let me try to control shift. Hey, I did it. All right, a good channel. What we have here, a double bottom, right? Ranging up and then swing failure or sweep of the lows. Is not about the breakout. We didn't have a retest. And right here where we have a flat pause bullish continuation, this is where you start using your indicators. For example, let me show you very quickly. Let me turn on, let me go right in here. All right. So if I don't have a retest on the trend line, that's why I use my dynamic reactor. Look at what is it telling me that I'm turning bullish. Right at the breakout, man, right? And then what is my retest? I did add a retest. Where? Right here, first, second, right? And then how do I know which one is the better one? Well, then that's when I add my oscillator, right? Let's just leave that because I like it, by the way. And that one, but man, too many things to talk about. All right, let's keep focus, OC, for God's sake. All right, then right here, what do I see? Well, flip of the ribbon, piercing through zero line, money flow. Right here, I had it all. Right there. Money flow green, piercing through the zero line, already flip of the ribbon. That flip of the ribbon was a bounce on the dynamic reactor above the zero line. And not right now, but I bet you my prime score was positive AF, right? So it's not that I'm using the indicators to predict. I'm using the indicators to let me see what I cannot see without the indicators, right? So let's turn them off once again. And if this wouldn't be an indicator or a setup, or I wouldn't have indicators, my next entry would have been here. And not even here, it would have been right there, late entry. It goes up, sweep of the lows, claiming back areas of support, breaking up with big body candle. That's a continuation for me based on structure. And not only that, I'm making another trend line. All right. But with indicators, my first entry was here. My second or last entry was in here. I profit out of this, right? Maybe I held. I profit out of this. I close my entry, short it, relong it, so on and so forth. So easy peasy 1, 2, 3 step, right? Same thing with ranges, same thing with downtrend and uptrend. Let me pass it over to you, Alex, because I would love for you to explain what is your basics, your 1, 2, 3 step, like 101 stuff.
Absolutely. No, that's when we want to when we want to talk about trading, you gotta really simplify it, right? What are we looking for? What are the main things that go into trading, and how can we take really advantage of price action, right? Like for me right now, like I got short right here on the rollover, took that to the sweep of the lows, then I just flipped long, stop loss to entry, right? Like I've I don't normally trade when I'm teaching, but it was pretty obvious, right? But it's always a plan, right? It's always a plan. What are we looking for? How are we looking for it? What I always like to identify is a couple of things, because for me, like I said, I took a short from down here. I took a long from down here. Okay. So I always like to think of, simplifying it by buy low, sell high, right? That kind of deal. Where 80% of the time we're range bound. Okay? Right? We want to trade with the range with the trend. Okay? Because we can be an idiot and we can buy the top and we can still make money. Okay? So these are the things that come into play. We want to keep it as simple as possible. What told us that we were going to go short here? And what told us that we were going to go long here? Okay? Well, this morning, we had bullish divergence in here like I showed you guys. But what did we do? We have put in a triple top, basically. But the key is that we've broken this low. So we've broken this low. Market structure is suggesting we are now in a downtrend. Okay? So generally, I should be looking for shorts. Generally. That doesn't mean I can't take longs. If I'm in a downtrend, okay, if I am taking longs, I'm only looking for smaller moves. Okay? Now I am in a long uptrend, which does help me with my longs. Okay? But I'm not a macro time trader. I'm a short-term time trader. I know what type of trader I am. Therefore, I trade accordingly. Okay? I'm not trying to take swing trades when I'm looking for scalps and vice versa, right? So, setting the trap is everything. So if we look here, and let's just use a rewind tool. Like for me, it's price action, it's order blocks, and it's liquidity. If I can, and then I'll sprinkle a little bit of Fibonacci, a little bit of support and resistance, but it's always understanding where's the liquidity this morning? Well, we have liquidity below us, up only. We have liquidity above us, down only. So, and we've switched structure. So I'm looking to take this liquidity in here. There's a bunch of things in here. I know Reggie loved this fair value gap. I know he was all over the fair value gap this morning. Reggie's just like drooling at this thing. Because that's what he trades, right? Me, I had a very key level of volume resistance here, and I had a Fibonacci level. Okay. Golden pocket. Okay. For me, this is brainless. Yeah, Reggie loves a gap. And you typically come back for the gap, right? And then when we look at this too, I love VWAP. So for me, if we did not hold VWAP here, if we failed to get above VWAP, I typically look for the opposite trade, right? So we had bullish divergence here, SFP of the orb, continuation trade, right? Into our golden pocket. Guess what? We lost VWAP. We're looking for shorts again, okay? Now we're looking for this beautiful sweep to come back probably up to VWAP. I'm already TP1, stop loss to entry, right? I can show you right now. Like just easy peasy lemon squeezy. Here's the trade on my other screen, right? SFP comes back, reclaims the range, one of my rules. TP1, looking to push up, okay? That's it. So at the end of the day, we set traps, right? We want to tell the market which way we want to go. We don't want the market, we can react, but we also want to have that plan, right? We want to be in charge of our trading, right? How do we be in charge of our trading? We have defined risk. We have defined TPs, defined strategy. We take the trade, we risk 1%. It's almost like it shouldn't be hard to do this. It's just you take the next trade. You take the next trade. When you get into trouble is when you start, using extra leverage, extra, whatever. You have higher expectations. You're putting on too much size, right? That's when you get into trouble. Right now, we're looking to recover halfway up this candle, maybe continue to roll over. But basically, you got your oscillator, overbought, oversold. You got order blocks liquidity. Where's the liquidity? Where is it going to be taken? How can I participate safely, right? And then it's the SFP trades, like OC just said. It's the failure to push above, acceptance back into the range, structure telling me down, and then it's all piecing it together, right? When I piece it all together, it's pretty simple. When I try to do it Alex's way and think I'm right all the time, it ends up being bad for me, right? So getting out of your own way, managing your risks, taking high probability trade setups over and over again is the way to go. The tools, order blocks, liquidity zones that I would recommend you do that. And then predictive ranges can help you identify really the hot dog, right? You want to identify the highs of the range, the lows of the range, right? The structure, right? And how to take advantage of that structure. And by doing that, you can be a profitable trader. But it starts with strategy. Then it's strategy and risk management. You don't have anything until you have these down pat. Then you can work on like your mindset and adding to your strategies. Okay? When you have a strategy, it must be rules based. I enter here, my stop loss is here. I'm risking 1% per trade every single time. Rinse and repeat. Okay? When you have something like that, it becomes very easy to take trades. It becomes very easy to get stopped out of trades. It becomes easy to trade. We want to take trades with confidence. And we want to be okay losing trades because we want to put probabilities in our favor. Okay? Always trying to take the high probability trade on something you've seen before within your strategy. And if you can do that, you can be successful because over time, which is a lot of the people that I work with, their problem is they have this. My camera keeps dying. I guess it's Gay Pride Month, so there we go. A lot of people, their time horizon's this, and they want to get rich in whatever, 3 months, right? I've been trading for over 3 years now. I went profitable in 7 months. Then I went full-time 7 months after that, so basically a year and a bit. Then I went full-time, and I've been trading full-time for over 2 years now. But this 7 months of becoming profitable, the only thing that changed, turn my camera back on so it doesn't look too gay, is that I started managing risk. I started learning how to lose. And I kept taking high probability trade setups. And over time, my account grew. Okay? And every now and then, you hit a home run. Every now and then, you hit one of these where you catch the move and the price goes to Valhalla and you make a lot of money. But that doesn't happen if your account is small wins, small wins, small wins, big wins, small losses, small losses, small losses. If big losses are in that equation, you can build up your account and be super profitable, and then you take a loss and you've destroyed all of your work. This is what everybody, including myself, used to struggle with the most, is that I would win and then I give it all back. I would win and I give it all back because I wasn't managing risk. Your mindset can be worked on once you take the trade, you manage your risk, high probability trade setup, key targets, take profit 1, take profit 2, take profit 3, right? Then you'll work on your mindset because then you start adding more money because you're making it to your trades, right? I mean, I took $1,000 and turned it into 100K. You can do it too. I'm a friggin' carpenter, right? I can build a house, except if OC designs it, because then it would look like a burrito and it would have curved walls, sombrero light fixtures and shit like that. So,
Truth.
And this is the things, right? So you got to define your strategy, right? Strategy back tested. What time frame you want to trade on? Are you working full time? Are you on the charts full time? You must have predefined risk. If you don't have risk, you can't take multiple trades, right? You should have a loss limit for the day. You shouldn't let yourself spiral. These are the things that I work on, right? Rinse and repeat. Okay. I use Dynamics Pro for everything. Yeah, for all my order blocks, for all my key levels. So when I go through, so in my Dynamics here, right, on my scalp setup that I have, okay, this is my main setup. I have VWAP, which is available to you in Dynamics Pro. I have pivots, which is available to you guys in Dynamics. Okay, I have Oracle Pro with Bollinger Bands. This kind of tells me if we're overextended like we were here. Look at this confirmation, right? So it gives me confidence to take more shorts with our quantum band here. And then I use order blocks, liquidity zones, and volume, delta. Okay. And then I go throughout my charts. I mark them out, and I mark out key areas that I'm interested in. Where am I looking for high probability trade setups on the macro? Where am I looking for price to get to? And I'll go through and I'll mark out all these areas, order blocks, key levels, top-down analysis. And I'll take all these order blocks and I'll condense them into key areas with golden pockets, Fibonacci levels, right? Where I'm looking to take trades and how I'm looking to take advantage of the price, right? Look at this. Why don't I have an order block marked out on every single one of these? Because for me, I know this is all liquidity, so if we're going to come for it, we're probably coming for all of it. But I also know that this is my main shelf of volume right here. Okay? So I will isolate the levels that are given here alongside with things that I trade. So if I pull this entire range here, I trade volume levels, and I show you where the top of this volume starts before we enter this volume node in here. This is where I'm looking for the bounce. That's where I'm looking for the trade. Okay, I don't give a shit about what else is in here. I'm looking for price to come into an area, react, allow me to manage risk with a high R multiple, right? At least a 3-to-1 ratio. And then I take the trade, right? I take profits aggressively. I move my stop loss to entry, and I move on to the next trade over and over again, rinse and repeat. 2 months ago, I took an $8,000 account to $37,000. I've since started again. Now I'm at doing a $25,000 account, trying to turn it into a $50,000 account. Okay. I still trade with a 100K account. Like I still have that. That's off exchange, but I slowly build up my accounts, take the profits, reinvest it, or pay myself, right? And that's how I do it. For today I am up 20. I know I'm up today. I'm having a good day. Up about $700 today. It's just another day. It's a good day. And then we keep rinsing and repeating. But it's applying where's liquidity, where's price action, what's going on, where's the trend, how do I enter and manage my risk, right? What's my R multiple? Where am I taking profits? Right? All these things come into play. And by doing that, I do all right. I do all right. There's still things that I'm always working on, right? For me, it's holding trades a little longer, right? It's not over trading some days. It's not spiraling out. That's important for me. Sometimes I get a little bit, spirally where I'm got the blinders on and I think I have to trade. Okay. So over trading is a little bit of my problem. I know these things because I trade every day, right? It's also hard when you're a teacher. I'm sure OC can say this too, but you're always looking at the charts. So you always feel like you need to be in a trade, which is not true, right? Which is not true. But when I run a Discord, he's running a Discord, we're running communities, right? So it's like people ask me to look at things, this and that, and there's always something to do here. There's how many effing tokens are there, right? I mean, I've given you guys setups on virtuals, looking for this to bounce. Not yet, not ready yet, right? Pengu at a bounce level, hit perfectly. See, should have taken the Pengu trade. Would it be up all the way? 3%. My alarm went off, right? XRP trade, OC, alarm went off, right?
Right.
Fartcoin, alarm went off, right? You can't do everything here. Solana, Ethereum. Look at the Ethereum trade I missed last night, man. Look, I hit
Holy
it perfectly. Right? Ethereum last night. Right? This morning. Beautiful, right? I would have loved to make another 5% on Ethereum. Pengu, yeah. Pengu's the only meme coin that I like, Reggie. It's and I'm not no degen, but I see pudgy penguins fucking everywhere. It's the only meme coin I like, man. Because I see it in the real world. That's it. Come talk to me. I bought pudgy penguins down at 7007. I bought pudgy here on this order block, okay? 7007. We'll talk in they're in every Walmart here, bro, like everywhere in North America. We'll see where we're at, come, let's say December, okay? We'll see December where pudgy penguins are, bro. I mean, but yeah, that's it, man. Like the basics are the basics, and you got to watch price action. You have to set up key levels. You set the trap, you take the trade, you manage your risk, you let it play out, and you rinse and repeat over and over again. Right now is a hard time to trade. It's slow. It's scammy. Donald Trump's tweeting every fucking 2 days, right? So be safe. Manage your risk. Don't overtrade.
Absolutely. One more thing before we wrap things up, I want to talk about the blinders. The blinders can come in many different shapes and sizes, right? And one of those is like Alex mentioned, that we are every day in the Discord talking about trades every day. You feel like, all right, there is always that trade that you could have gone into. And sometimes that becomes a mental issue, right? So sometimes you need to let go. And that's what happens to me also, right? I do come into live when I hit one of those that I ignored, right? And they just pumped, and I'm like, I do my, how do you call when the little kids start crying around? They do their what?
Whine?
Yeah,
Whining?
exactly. I start whining all across the board, right? But the point is that we let go, we rinse, repeat, and that's what takes us to the next trade, right? So quit being a little whiner and go into and find the next trade. You don't need to trade every time. So you look for setups and you wait for the price action to get there. And when it gets there and it has a good support, it has a good structure, and it has a good look and a good potential to grow, that's when you take it. The other kind of liners that I want to talk about, it is when I started trading. Let me bring up my screening here. It is, and I do remember this. I was just finishing the candlestick course that I paid for, right? And for me, it was oh my goodness, I'm gonna get so rich out of this. And I found myself like this with so chunky candles saying, this candle, man, this is important. This candle is it. I need to watch it. I need to watch it. I know it, right? And dude, I spent it hours, countless hours, like watching paint dry. Because watching candles, other than candlestick patterns, which is just a small portion of trading, doesn't get you anywhere, right? And I want you to notice, like, we zoom in and out, but most likely we're always zoomed out to look at the structure that we have, right? To say, hey, have we broken previous highs? Right? Are we going to previous lows? Right? Is this maybe a Wyckoff ranging scenario? Right? How is my trend line? Do I have maybe a new trend line that I'm not seeing? Let's zoom out. And yes, I did. Right? Maybe this trend line in here. Right? And what happens if I did actually had this other one? Right? It's not about the breakout. It's about the retest. All right? Maybe somewhere around here. And then we start looking for your support and resistances and so on and so forth, right? So last advice, friendly advice, not financial advice, it's zoom out, zoom out. You don't need to see individual candles. You need to see structure, right? And I think that is one of the most important things that I have learned throughout my experience of trading. It's to zoom out. And you'll find, because zooming in, you're only going to be seeing, very defined candles, but the sum of the candles is what makes you the price action. So you need to see it, right? So zoom out, zoom out. Alex, I think we're at the end of the show. Anything that you would like to add before we go away?
No, I think we covered a lot today. I'm going to get my ears lowered.
Love it, love it. Nice. I need one of those
man.
setups. Yeah, look at that. It's just too.
I know, it's so long, bro. You got the best hair in all of crypto.
Oh, dude, I was watching my younger pictures and I did not had this thing. Do we have an operation to recover those?
Yeah, me too, bro. Don't worry.
Oh, look at that. Nice. This is
It
trading
used to
throughout
be straight.
FOMC. So do I,
That's
man.
from Jerome. This was from Jerome Powell. This one's from Army Piper.
Oh, love it. Love it. All right, guys, we're reaching out the end of the class. Hopefully you guys have a great time with us. Lucky luck, my friend. Hopefully this works and finds you well. Go watch the recording. And if you have any other question, come to the classes, ask those questions, and we'll make a video of that. And tomorrow, we're going to be seeing the new oscillator that we have on ChartPrime. So do not miss this next up class. So guys, thank you so much for joining. And as always, see you guys tomorrow.